Asthma has been normalized, managed, packaged into inhalers and repeat prescriptions. But what if we've been asking the wrong questions all along? In this episode, we go deeper than symptom control and explore the real reason behind asthma, from its historical rise to the modern day explosion of diagnoses and the powerful systems that shape how it's treated today. Why are more people struggling to breathe than ever before? Why are so many stuck on lifelong inhalers? And is there something being overlooked when it comes to true recovery? In this episode, we're going to unpack the evolution of asthma treatment and where it may fall short, how the nervous system and the environment influence breathing, the difference between symptom management and addressing the underlying dysfunction, what innovative approaches at the Nerve Health Institute and at Bodychargers, what we're doing differently to help this condition. This isn't just about rejecting medicine, it's about expanding the conversation. If you've ever wondered whether there's more to the story, this episode is for you. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. I'm Cameron, and today I'm here with Dr. Chris Korme. We are going to be talking about asthma today. Hello, Dr. Korme.
Hi, Cam.
When did asthma switch from such a rare condition to something so common? And what changed in our environment and lifestyle?
Oh, goodness. That's a big question.
Yes.
So you want to think of the air quality. Let's just talk about air quality in general, right? So we always talk about the number one ingredient in the human body. And I think I can't believe I have to have this discussion with people in 2026. We're in 2026. We're a very smart group of billions of people throughout the world. You would think that people would know that the number one ingredient in a human being is oxygen gas. But I have to have this discussion with people all day. They don't even know what the number one ingredient is. They think it's maybe something pharmaceutical. It's not at all. Like, the number one ingredient is oxygen gas. So you could do without a lot of things, but you can't do without breathing. Don't try it. The unfortunate part about breathing is nobody breathes enough, and we don't know what we're breathing anymore. And so that makes it difficult to get that number one ingredient, oxygen gas, into our cells. And so that's part of the problem, right? Chemicals, pollutants, toxins, additives, preservatives. I mean, so much. Even microplastics are in the air. I mean, so much is in the air of planet Earth. It's not getting any easier for us to live on this planet. And honestly, I'm not doom and gloom, right? You have to do things to keep your body and its ability to get oxygen into the cells at its peak. If you're not, then you're going to have issues.
Is asthma purely a lung issue, or is that an oversimplification?
I think it's kind of an oversimplification. I mean, you can imagine, okay, so I've got to take oxygen out of this air, and I've got to get it in through my airway, through my bronchioles, into my lungs. My lungs have to transport that into the blood. The blood has to circulate that oxygen throughout all your body, and it goes through your blood vessels to get in your cells. I mean, that's crazy to think about. Every breath you take, you're having to take X amount of oxygen out of that air, and your body has to discard the other things it doesn't need that are in the air, potentially discard. A lot of times it doesn't, and that's where the problems arise. It's a sequential process just for every breath, and that's just a breath in. You can imagine a breath out. I mean, all that blood's coming back with all the trash, and your body has to convert it. You know, the heart's still pumping it there, and then the veins, everything coming it back, and your body's got to take all that trash out and try to breathe. You try to breathe it out. That's one of the ways that your body. That's really the primary way your body detoxifies. So that process is so complicated. And again, only way I can describe that process is God. I mean, it's this engineer that designed us is God, and it's the best engineering ever. There's no way in humans that we could ever replicate what he did. So, but when most people don't realize, I think we take for granted everything that we have in all the God-made programs that we've been given. So, like, for instance, you can walk. And those are things your body's programmed to do. And when you can't walk, that's when you think about it. Or you can digest, when you can digest, you're fine. And when you can't, that's when you think about it. When a cut's not healing, all of a sudden it's not healing, then that's when you think about it, right? So it's the same thing here. Like, when you can breathe, you're fine. But then all of a sudden when you can't breathe, it's like, oh my goodness. And then because breathing is so crucial, you have to breathe. When anything affects your breathing, it throws your nervous system into like oh my goodness, am I going to die, right?
Yeah.
So it throws that sympathetic, worried, fearful side on, and this particular condition can really escalate unless you're doing the right things.
Why do people's symptoms often worsen under stress, even when their triggers may seem very unrelated to the lungs?
Exactly what we talked about. So remember, when it comes to the body, okay, so we could talk for a long time on this, but I'm just going to give the basics, okay? We all have the same set of 30 trillion cells. Nobody's born with a perfect set of those cells. Everybody has genetic defects. From the moment you start living, you have physical stresses, emotional stresses, and environmental stresses that can affect groups of cells throughout your body. And if you don't take care of those cells, let's say it's some cells that got damaged in your lung because maybe you're on a trip and you're driving and you had some nasty chemical come through the car. That happens. I mean, where people just get something that's out there. Maybe it was whatever it was. Somebody's could be a crop duster spraying something. I mean, it's so much out there, right? If you don't get those cells taken care of properly, sometimes they stay damaged permanently. So there's 3 different types of stress that really affect your cells. And again, if you're not addressing the root cause and trying to fix those things, and your body just stays perpetually weak. And certainly you don't want, you could be weak without a lot of things, but when your breathing is weak, it's not fun.
For this condition, a lot of people use inhalers to manage their symptoms. Why do you think so many people become dependent on these inhalers long term?
Again, breathing is so crucial.
Yes.
And when you can't breathe, if you don't know why you can't breathe and how to fix it, then they just Band-Aid it with these drugs. And so a lot of these drugs are just, they're opening the airway for people. And I'm not saying, again, let's just be clear. Okay, I don't have jurisdiction to tell you to take drugs or not take drugs. That's not my jurisdiction at all. It's not my licensure. But where I am on this side, I feel like they're on this side, right? And we're on this side. And I'm not telling you there can be some good or bad things that can happen with drugs. Certainly, if you feel like you can't breathe and nobody's there that knows what we know and how to assist you or teach you what to do, there's so many other options you probably don't know about. But most people just go conventional and get stuck with a med that they just stay on, and maybe their body never grows out of it. They'll tell you sometimes you'll grow out of it, but the thing about it is your nervous system healed. Like, you had a condition and your nervous system healed. That's how the body's designed. So if you grow out of it, well, technically your body healed itself, of whatever that condition was. But sometimes people get stuck where they start this med for this condition and literally they're on it for the rest of their life.
To go a little bit more with symptom management, if someone is looking to go beyond that, where should they start?
So again, at our clinic, if you're able to come to our clinic, just think about all that process I explained earlier about getting the air through whatever you're breathing, going in and having all these parts. Well, all these parts in your body are wired to your brain. So if this power company loses power to any one of those parts involved in one breath, well, then it becomes harder to have that breath. And then we have to figure out what stress made those nerves shut off. And it could be that maybe you had this moment where you didn't drink enough water and lowered electrolytes and you're on a field running like crazy and had something happen. My son had that happen, my oldest son, and we had to fix it. If we wouldn't have fixed it, maybe it would have turned into way more and then a lot more meds, right? And then there could be other triggers. Maybe it's every time you go into a store and you're down one of the artificial scent aisles and it triggers, right? So we have to figure out what trigger that would be and strengthen your nervous system to that potential trigger, because otherwise you have kryptonites like Superman that are out there waiting, to get you to not breathe. It's like when you're around a certain smell or chemical or toxin, all of a sudden, as soon as you start breathing it in, your body says, oh my goodness, breaker's shutting off. And that's when you can't breathe, right? So there's all these different triggers. And there's also the emotional trigger as well. So you could think about the death of a loved one and it trigger an asthmatic attack. I mean, there's so many different things that could be doing these things.
Obviously, you've seen a bunch of people with this condition in your clinic. What kinds of changes do patients typically notice beyond just their breathing improvements?
It's breathing improvement, but it's also the less triggers.
Yes.
Because honestly, that's really the big thing in this condition is trying to isolate what triggers are. Because I always tell people, look, if you're breathing fine for a good while and all of a sudden you can't breathe, there's always a stress and a reaction. Like something happened, right? It was something you either were around, something you breathed in that triggered some kryptonite, something you thought about emotionally, something you were doing physically, and we got to figure out what those triggers are. So the patients we see with this particular condition, we're able to strengthen them to those triggers, and they're much more confident because you can imagine if you hit one of those triggers and you don't know what it is, then every time you hit that trigger and you're weak, well, then you go sympathetic and you start saying, oh my goodness, I can't breathe. And then it just triggers this whole non-healing side of your nervous system, right? So we're able to fix those triggers to where people are stronger to those, and then they don't have to go into that sympathetic fight or flight mode, and their body just says, oh, okay, I'm able to deal with it properly.
For people that cannot visit your clinic, you do have Bodychargers. How can that help support someone's body at home?
Yeah, so Bodychargers, what we're trying to do with Bodychargers, we have Nerve Health Institute and we have Bodychargers. I realized early on, I've been in practice for decades now, and I got to a point where I wanted to go with people 24/7, and I can't. So we had to develop all these different things, and for me personally, my wife and kids, our staff, all our patients, everybody that's been around, we've been recommending. I've rabbit holed so many different products for many years, and we've figured out the best of the best for home, and all of it centers around keeping your body healing itself to the highest level. That's really what the holy grail is in the human body. This is a God-made body. You want it healing to the highest level at all times. When it starts to dip and you're not healing, you start to develop more conditions like this one. It's simple. So Bodychargers has all these methods and techniques and devices and teachings so that you could be your own mechanic at home. And basically that's the mission, is to try to get people to manage their own symptoms and get to the root cause and understand that there are basics that they should be doing that they don't know about.
What role does frequency play with nervous system support and respiratory health?
Yeah, so frequency, again, it's like guitar strings. So, we have all these cells throughout our body, right? Your lung cells have a different frequency than your heart cells, than your trachea cells. I mean, all the cells involved in respiration, these cells are different. They each have their own tune, like a radio station tune or a guitar string, okay? So what ends up happening is when stress damages a group of cells, it'll make the cell lose its frequency. So you have to actually do things to reset the frequency of the cells. And frequency's been around for over 100 years. I mean, Einstein was talking about it, saying frequency is going to be the future of medicine in the early 1900s. I mean, so it's been around for a while. Yeah. Now, a lot of the big pharmaceutical companies, they don't want you to know about frequency, right? Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. Your cells need to have frequency, and they need to be tuned up. And so nowadays we have small devices you literally put in your pocket, and they reset frequency to cells. And it's just so spectacular because now you have something 24/7 that you can work with. That's the sort of stuff we offer with Bodychargers.
Amazing. Lastly, what would be one thing that you would say to someone who's been told that this is just going to be something that they'll have forever?
Or you're going to grow out of it.
Yeah.
Wait till you grow out of it, right? It's something, obviously, when they tell you this particular condition, that's one of the things I've heard routinely. Yeah, maybe you'll just grow out of it, right? Mm-hmm. That's not really what happens at all. Your body, remember, it's designed to heal itself, right? It's got this self-healing that's born within, and your body just needs to, if you have a condition like this, you just have to do the right things to make your body strengthen back up to where it doesn't have conditions like this anymore. So there's absolute hope, but you just need to know what to do, and you need to be guided by somebody who's been doing it for so long and has so much experience. And also, like I said, when it comes to breathing, I get it, man. People who get this condition, they go straight to drugs because it's such a worry, right? But they should be thinking in a different manner, because otherwise you'll get yourself addicted. Some of these drugs are steroids. They can cause other effects. They can cause weight gain. They can cause lower immunity. I mean, there's a lot of different things. They can cause, swelling in people. So you just got to be careful with these particular drugs. In my opinion, if it's me, we're doing the things that we should be doing to connect things and get things healthier.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Korme. That does conclude our talk for today.
If this podcast spoke to you, or if you feel like you have family members or friends
that have these types of conditions that could benefit from this particular technology, then all you need to do is become a Bodychargers member or tell them about Bodychargers. Remember, it's our community that I created to help people at home with the best technologies in the world to be able to help you to self-heal your body at home and maximize your self-healing. So go to Bodychargers, become a member. That's the easiest way to get this done. And we look forward to serving you and your family. Also, if you want a higher level of care, we have the Nerve Health Institute you can always come to. That's our clinic where we have higher level services here to be able to help you. So I hope you enjoy, and we look forward to serving you and your family, and look forward to our next podcast.